Hey everybody, looking forward to sharing this episode with Ronnie Eriic. He's a hip hop artist. He does a little bit of producing. He's a songwriter. He's got a lot of energy and he's got a really incredible story. So looking forward to sharing this with you, and I will chat with you right after the episode. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Blaze Your Own Trail podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Mendoza, and I've got a very special guest today. His name is Ronnie Eriic, and I'm going to give him just a couple minutes to tell us all about him.
Hey, what's up, man? I appreciate you having me on the show. As he said, my name is Ronnie Eriic. I'm from New Jersey, live in Atlanta now. I'm an artist, songwriter, entertainer, and I'm Mr. Feeling Good, Feeling Great. That's my motto, you know what I'm saying?
Awesome. And I love that motto, right? It's a very positive and an uplifting motto to abide by. So we're going to rewind real quick and take a dive into, where you grew up and how you were as a kid. So can you give the audience some context of, where you actually were born and raised?
Yes, I was born in Plainfield, New Jersey. I grew up in Scotch Plains. So when I was younger, sports was really big in my life. So parents put me into basketball, football, track. That's where they pushed sports in school. For me, music wasn't. I did music, like I was in my family's choir, and and in our church I did that, and I played the drums, but it wasn't as big or pushed, as it was when my dad did DJing and my uncle was rapping back in the day, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. So what do you think their big push to get you into sports was? Did your parents play sports, or maybe they didn't, and so they wanted you guys to be involved and get those experiences? What was it, do you think, that kind of had them push you towards sports?
I think it was my grandfather and grandmother. They had a football league where we were from in Plainfield. And so my mom and them grew up in that league. And so my mom and them took over and got their own league. And then wanted to, raise us into sports. And, football is really big in my family. Like, uncles is Cowboys, my dad's a Dolphin fan. So it's like always rivals, a team, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. Thanksgivings is crazy. So yeah, sports is like, I went to college. I played all through high school and all that, and I was supposed to go play in college, but I got there and was like, nah, I'm good. I'm not trying to wake up 5 a.m. Like, hell no, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Well, you did them proud, right? You put in the work for as long as you could, and until you really went down the path of what your passion is, right? And I think that's super important to me, and that's the thing I'm instilling in my kids is like, whatever you want to do, whatever you see a strength in, let's go all in there.
Exactly.
It's there's too many parents, I think, that focus on the kids' weaknesses, and what happens when you do that is their strengths actually start to diminish, right? When you focus on their weakness versus their strengths. So
exactly.
So growing up in Jersey, so who were some of your biggest influences when it came to music, whether that was, hip hop, R&B, maybe you like some other styles of music. So who were kind of people you look up to?
So my favorite artist is Lauryn Hill. Looked up to Lauryn Hill, she's from Jersey. Who else? Fabulous. Whitney Houston turns because she's from Jersey, but she's just a powerful singer, man. Michael Jackson, my dad always played Michael. Like, that was like his favorite thing to do. So he played Michael. He played, he showed us old school music like I think it's the High Tops and what else? High Five, and just a lot of great R&B and hip hop music. I think one of my first albums I ever had was Little Bow Wow. I had Aaliyah, and what else? I had some other ones. I had a couple different joints, that I had, but it was just so crazy because, hip hop is born in New York and, in those areas. So being able to have best of both worlds, living up there, being raised there, and then coming to the South and, finding my own sound and way, I think I'm appreciative of what, I was born into and learned.
Yeah, and no, hip hop and Motown, that type of R&B. I mean, I grew up in the early '80s, and that was super popular, right? And there was just something about the sound and the quality of that sound that it was addicting to listen to, and you could tell that they put a lot of effort and energy into their craft for sure. So when did you discover and when did you think about, hey, listen, I think one day I want to aspire to be an artist. I want to aspire to be a rapper, and get into that side of things as far as a business side is concerned. So when did you have your first thoughts about that?
It happened when I was in college, my sophomore year in college, and my grandfather passed away, and I needed some way to like vent. You know what I'm saying? And the only way I knew how to was either go, play sports or, listen to music. So I just started listening. I'm like, man, I need to write something down on how I feel. And from there, just penning how I felt, I came across other artists in college where Charlie Sky, Chrissy Say So, Martez, Hurt, we all formed a group called Leaders of the Dreamers. And from there, I started building my fan base, and it was all she wrote from there. So I was actually in a rap group, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was, it was crazy. It was crazy dope. So.
Okay. Yeah. So that's good. So, how did you enjoy being part of a group? Obviously, playing sports as a kid and all growing up, you got that sense of teamwork and camaraderie and things like that. But, when it comes to the music business, sometimes there could be egos, right? There could be, I want to be the person in front, or I want to have this, part of the song, right? So, can you give the audience some context on how that was at first, right? Because again, different personalities, different things like that you're dealing with especially when you're in a group.
Yeah. So I think for me, I was fairly new to it. Like, so everybody that I did join, they either had a couple years on me, they were doing music way before me and all that. So when I came into it, it was more of a learning curve, and they were teaching me, they helping out. But once I started getting the hang of it, I'm very competitive. So it wasn't a bad competitive, but it was like, oh, they wrote a fire verse or a fire hook or whatever. I need to do something just as much or better. You know what I'm saying? But so that it's either balanced with them or something, oh, you killed that, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was fun. It was competitive, but then we also knew how to balance each other out, and we knew each other's strengths and weaknesses, right? So I knew I couldn't probably rap on a certain song, so we'll let somebody else rap on it. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't feel like it fit me. So it was cool. It was a cool learning experience. If I was to be in a group again, I would probably not, because I love being solo. And I think being in group, like you said, there's so many different personalities, styles, and then it's like time management. Like, let's say we try to have to do something and everybody can't make it, you know what I'm saying? Or some people are taking it serious and some people are not, because life has happened and little things have happened between that, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's kind of hard to be in a group.
Okay. So, we've talked off air, and, you gave me some context into how you got into producing, and it was a super interesting story. And I think it would be good for the audience to find out, because you don't only, write your songs and perform your song, but you also are able to produce your tracks, and not everybody has that skill set. So can you give the audience some context and kind of how that came to fruition?
So I don't fully produce. I engineer my stuff. So like 100 Grand, my song 100 Grand, how we have it on the NBA, the Cavaliers Media Day and stuff like that. Shout out to United Masters. My producer was sitting here and he didn't have nothing. So I was like, yeah, just leave it. I started playing on his keyboard or whatever, and I'm like, I had found this sound, and I just kept playing, and I'm like, yo, this is the sound. Like, I like this sound. He came back, created everything around it, and then that's when I started humming, my cadences and melodies, put it together. So I actually record, like, I have an in-home studio, as you can see in my mic, my interface and stuff over here. So after I wrote it, I recorded it, and then from there, I mixed and mastered it. So I basically, sat here, chopped up the beat, and took the drums and leveled it a certain way and made sure the reverb sounded good and stuff like that. So it's a long process, but once it's done, the manifestation of it is beautiful. So
absolutely, yeah. It's because it's literally you're creating, right? You're getting to use that creative side and put all of these things together to turn into one track, when I'm editing videos, I get that. I'm like, oh man, like, oh, if I do this will happen. Oh, what if I add this? No, that's not, and you're able to really like see, 100 different versions of it before it actually comes to fruition.
Exactly. Then it's like, also taking in on opinions, right? So like opinions can help and sometimes not help, you know what I'm saying? So I think that also people should be open-minded to that, having a group of people that won't just tell you yes, you know what I'm saying? They'll keep it real with you and be like, hey, that's not it, man. Maybe you should try that better and say that better and do this better. So also take that into heed when I do stuff.
That's good. Yeah, no, it's definitely good to have a circle around you of people that can, for one, support you and, steer you in the right direction. And I think, as a creative type, it's also important that you also stick to what you feel is right with that intuition or that gut feeling, so that it doesn't end up sounding more like their stuff versus your stuff, right?
Exactly.
All right. So, what was your first song that you ever released? So when I say release, meaning, it made it to Spotify or Apple Music. And I want you to just give the audience some context around how you came up with that song. And then does it align with kind of who you are and how you've grown since that time?
Nah. So my first song was called Don't Play. And it was more of a trappy feel. It was like, we don't play. It was basically telling how me and my friends don't play about a lot of different things. And, I was in the time in my life where I was hanging around people that, not saying bad or anything, but, if you mess with them, they not playing with it. You know what I'm saying? So I made that song at the time. So that was like 2015 or 16. The next song after that was Feeling Good, Feeling Great. And that was really when I found like, that's me. I'm Ronnie Eriic. I love to turn up. I like to have fun. I like to party. And Feeling Good, Feeling Great, I recorded that like 4 different times. Not even recorded. We changed the beat like so many different times until we finally got the one that I like. And from making Feeling Good, Feeling Great, I had the brand made and stuff like that. And, so from there, I started, and that was still like Ronnie Eriic, but not the vulnerable and telling how I really feel about situations, Ronnie Eriic. So those two were the first 2 songs when I first got to Atlanta, because I moved to Atlanta in 2014 after I graduated from college. So those 2 were the first 2 songs that I really released on any of those platforms.
Okay. And so the one, so Feeling Good, Feeling Great, that's when you really thought that, okay, this can be a thing, right? This can not only be, I can create music, but I can have a brand associated with it, right? So when you thought about that from like a business standpoint, what was your next move? Did you say, you know what, I want to get this trademarked. I want to maybe get an LLC, right? So that I can actually distribute merchandise. Like, so give us some insights into the business side of things. Did you want to hire management? What route did you kind of go down to get all that started?
So for first, it was shows, getting people to repeat, like Simon says. And when I say feeling good, y'all say feeling great. You know what I'm saying? So like having them have that in their head. So anytime they see me or whatever, oh, it's Mr. Feeling Good. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just my whole thing. From there, it was finding out the best pricing and t-shirts and merch and stuff like that. I didn't have management for about maybe 2 years when I got here. I didn't have management. No, I did. I got management when I got here, but it didn't work out. I felt as though I was doing more work than my management. So I was just like, because, it was my dream and that's just how I go. So from there, it was just get an LLC and all of that. But thank God I got, when I got here, I also got my master's degree from Full Sail in entertainment business. So that also showed me how to, one, market myself, make a business plan. On top of that, you know, learn different contracts and things like that either made sense or didn't make sense. So feeling good, feeling great, I wanted it to be a whole entity, not just merch or whatever. I wanted it to be a thing when somebody heard or said my name, that was me. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So from there, and I still have to, you know, get an LLC for it and all of that. But I did research on it to figure out how much it cost and what I had to do and things of that nature in order to make it, you know, be a staple for me.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, and you know, a lot of people that are getting started out in hip hop or music, they don't have that benefit of you know, having higher education, right? Having that master's degree. So would you say that has been foundational in getting things going a lot quicker? Do you think it would have been taken less time or more time without it?
I have like a love and hate relationship with that. So like, yes, it's beneficial because I know how to move and carry myself in a room and around people. And I know the knowledge that I need to know for it, right? But then if you, per se, somebody that didn't go to school for it, they can then sat on YouTube and took courses and classes and still be as adequate as me to know this information. But their hustle, like, I feel like hustle is everything, right? They can, on top of me having the degrees and all of that, my hustle still had to meet those people that didn't have it. Because those people that don't have it most times hustle a lot harder because they know they need to figure out and get things right. So I think for me it's a conversational piece. Like, people will be like, oh, I even come to this day, people don't know how to get on distribution. They don't know how to do different things. But learning from my degrees in terms of business and entertainment business, it showed me how to be determined and disciplined and to finish things. I think that's my biggest output. I feel like if you can finish that, you can finish anything. Okay.
That's good. Yeah. And, you know, every degree has a certain weight to it, right? You know, whether it's a dollar amount or whether it's, you know, some of them could be priceless, right? Because in order to do that role or that position, you have to have it, right? And then there's plenty out there. There's plenty of people that have them and they're nothing but something on somebody's wall that they have never used, right? But, you know, you can't really fault people for that. I mean, these are, you know, 17 to 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. You know what the heck you want to do. I mean, there's plenty of people that are 30s, 40s, 50s that still don't know what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And so I think, you know, I have a very similar love-hate relationship with college and school. You know, I didn't go. I knew I didn't want to go when I was in high school because I didn't enjoy education in a formal way, but I love learning, right? And even though I didn't go to school, I have certifications, because I'm always investing in myself. I think professional development, personal development, you know, that is where you want your money to go, is how can I be a better version of me, right? Because if you are at optimal level of performance for yourself, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're going to do it really well, right? Exactly.
So, and then I hate waiting on people. So that also pushed me. Like, I had to figure out how to get on Spotify. I put in one of my songs and set it off. Like, I did this shit without a manager. You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned all of this stuff without even having somebody, or like I created my website myself. And I feel as though like that term of accomplishment holds way bigger than having somebody do everything for you, which a lot of people nowadays, you know, they're not self-efficient, which is kind of scary to me. But
but it's all about the process, right? If you enjoy the process and the journey, and you don't really get upset when you don't get the W, right? Like, because it's gonna happen. Like, more than not, you're gonna fail. You're not gonna see the results that you want to see. But you know, if you dwell on it or you give up, then you're not going to get to where you want to get, right?
Exactly.
It's all about having that selective amnesia, right? This door closed, but guess what? Another door is over here waiting for you that you didn't even think about, right? And so, you know, how do you position yourself with your business. So just to give the audience some context, are you, I know you're on YouTube and on Instagram, so do you put out a lot of content, and what type of content do you enjoy putting out the most?
So right now I'm more heavier on Instagram, growing my YouTube right now. But for me, I put more content in terms of videos. I think videos go really well. I feel like we used to be in a world where you could post a flyer and all of that, and it would get some love. But now if it don't have music behind that flyer, it's like irrelevant. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to sit there and pay attention, or you know what I'm saying? So right now I'm working on more visual content, whether it's learning. I'm actually trying to learn TikTok, and trying to figure out ways to be more appealing, because TikTok is new to me in terms, I feel like it's like a newer Vine. You know what I'm saying? Vine was popping in my time. So I feel as though TikTok, so I use TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. You help me with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like a foreign language to me too, but it's very interesting. It's very interesting from a business and professional standpoint. And then my streaming platform. So right now Spotify and Pandora are my leading platforms. And thank God for Pandora and their tools that they have, to feature music, and they basically put the song on whatever like-minded artist that they feel like it sounds like, they put it on their radio, and then, those people come and check you out. And with Spotify, their playlists. So playlists are very, very dope. And then Instagram ads, when I, get a chance, I feel like are definitely good.
Yeah. And so for the audience, right, for somebody that maybe is like, you know what, I think I have written some stuff and I may want to perform it. Can you give the audience some context into how somebody can go from just, having their audio tracks to actually getting it on the platform that they want to get it to, so that it can start to be distributed out to the masses?
Okay. So there's distribution companies that they can look into. You have DistroKid, you have United Masters, you have TuneCore. I know those are the ones in the US, and there's another one. I can't remember the other one. But I use DistroKid and I use United Masters. The reasons why I use those two, DistroKid, because I keep 100% of my digital sales, right? And then they do split sheets on the platform. So I don't have to worry about, if I make this amount of money, I have to come back and give you that. They're already paying that out. So, and it's only like $35 for the year. You upload as many songs you want throughout that year. And I only put my explicit versions over there. So now for my clean versions, I use United Masters, because I know they have the NBA. They have a lot more sync licensing deals. And I use them to get those deals, like how I got the NBA, how I just did AT&T with them, waiting for that Corona. I wish it never happened, but waiting for that thing to pop off. And I like them a lot because they're very big in on independent artists and showing love and helping out independent artists, so, and they'd have different playlists and stuff every week and stuff like that too. So those are the two platforms I use, and it's easy. United Masters is free. You just gotta upload, sign up and upload. So I feel like the biggest thing is getting your music mixed and mastered correctly. Yep. I think quality, because you can put music out just from your phone every day, you know what I'm saying? But if it don't sound good, nobody's really going to pay attention to listen to it, you know what I'm saying?
So with those two platforms, DistroKid, United Masters, are there people that are big, like now they're big artists that use those platforms, and that you don't think will ever sign a formal like manager? Yeah.
What's his name? I don't want to say it wrong. His name is Chopper, and in something Chopper. I can't think of his name right now, but he was pushed on that platform and is doing crazy numbers. There's another artist from New York that's being pushed on their platform and doing crazy. So I have like a personal A&R with them, and we talk and converse, and opportunities come. He'll look out and check out, like, hey, this might be good for you, or he'll just send it in, you know what I'm saying? And like when I first got the NBA, I was actually Ubering. Like Didn't nobody tell me, no nothing. Like they tagged me, United Masters tagged me, no Cavs did. It was like, hey, Tristan Thompson, song 100 Grand by Ronnie Eriic. You know what I mean? Provided by United Masters. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like something crazy big. And all I had to do was, submit. So
that's it. Yeah, no, that sounds easy, and it sounds like a quick process,
Yeah.
With my podcast, that's the one thing that I like too about podcasting is you can distribute it to pretty much, I think I'm on like 10 or 11 platforms, right? And when you get started from day one, depending on who's your hosting site, you usually get 2 or 3 like that first day.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, right? It's about, like, first I gotta market on social to tell people that there's an episode so that they get driven where I want them to go to click the link and then to subscribe, hopefully, right? So it's about distribution and having the ability to be on multiple platforms is definitely a big advantage.
Well, you showed me something dope that was really easy, Linktree. I like Linktree a lot. I appreciate you for showing me that, because it's like one central link and they can go and choose whatever they want on that one central link. You know what I'm saying? So it's been really beneficial for me.
Yeah. No, I tell, a lot of my clients to, if they don't have one, to build a Linktree. Like you said, it gets people where you want them to go. And so now I upgraded to Pro not too long ago. So now I literally have every social link. You can have hyperlinks that drive them exactly where you want to go, or you can create motion links that like shake or move when they get on. And what I like about it too is you can use that if you have a domain, right? If you have like feelinggood.com, you can send them there, and then you can link that directly to your Linktree, right? So so for people that don't have a website, or they don't want to invest the time and energy in either YouTubing it to figure it out or hiring somebody, Linktree's perfect, right? And for $6 a month, I think for Pro or free, you can use there's plenty of people. I think Gary Vee actually uses the free version, there's people out there that they're just like, all right, whatever. It's just a place for me to put links. So that's definitely a good tool. So what do you have in the works? I know you just released your album Rebirth, right? And there's definitely some, it's a great album. There's some tracks on there that I definitely enjoy. So give the audience a little bit of context into that album. What was the whole thought behind it, and what your favorite maybe top 2 or 3 tracks off the album.
Okay. So my album is called Rebirth. It's on all streaming platforms, so go get that. So basically Rebirth, I needed a title for the album. Couldn't really think of it, so I asked my homegirl. She was like, why don't you call it Rebirth? And I'm like, that's dope, but why? She was like, well, the R-E, first of all, stands for Ronnie Eriic, right? If you look at it that way, Ronnie Eriic, and then Rebirth in himself. So I'm like, oh, that's dope. That's crazy cool. I was going through, love, situationships, relationships, self-doubt, figuring out myself. Like, I got to be honest, is really like a mirror, me talking to myself. I'm like, yo, you got to do better. Like, I got to be honest about the things that I'm doing to reflect, because it's not showing, doing real good. So I think it's a real big, vulnerable album, showing my emotional side on how I felt about the situations that I was going through throughout the year and a half span of my life. And some of the songs, like She Knows, I did that like maybe a year ago, but it just still fit, the album. And, so it's a storyline. If you really listen to it straight through, it's not. So when I first did it, it's a different storyline. Then I sent it to one of my mentors, and he was like, yo, this is how it should go, because it sounds great this way. And I started listening. I'm like, yo, you're right. Like, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? So we changed it up. But Rebirth is definitely a visual into me wearing my heart on my sleeve and just talking about, the goods in relationships, the bad, taking accountability on the situations that either I did wrong or the other person did wrong, and just making relatable music. I mean, that's my biggest thing, is to make music that people can relate to. So right now, my favorites is Safe Place. Like, that's one of my favorites. Like, everybody loves that song. It's crazy. And it's a good time right now because everybody's home. So everybody needs a safe place, which is, I thank God that it came out that way. Safe Place. Another one would be Mixed Feelings. Mixed Feelings is another one, just because of the lyrical aspect of it. I feel as though I really went crazy on the different types of lyrics that I said in the wordplay. And I think the last one for me would be How Can I Trust You? So those are the top three.
That's my favorite off the album.
How Can I Trust You?
Trust You. Yep.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, all three of those were definitely probably my top 3 or 4 as well. So really great album. For those of you, I listen to it on Spotify. You're on Pandora? Are you on Apple Music?
Yes, I'm on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, iTunes, basically everywhere. You know what I'm saying? YouTube. But real quick, How Can I Trust You is so crazy. We did it right here. My homegirl pulled up, and the way we did it, it was supposed to be a whole different vibe. Then it started raining outside. So I'm like, raindrops, okay. It's storming out here in the A. So it just was like, I feel as though when I make music, it's prominent to either what I'm going through at the time or what I've been through. And it just makes sense all the way. So I'm glad like you like that, because on a rainy day in Atlanta, I feel like that's the best song to like.
Yeah. No, and it's great to hear the context, right? Because that was very organic, right? You're sitting around with your friends and you're gonna record, and then all of a sudden something comes to you, and it just makes it more meaningful, right? Because the effort that you're gonna put into a track like that is you're gonna want to hit it hard. You want it to be so impactful so that people, like you said, they feel that emotion in that environment that you were in at the time.
Yeah,
that's definitely cool to get that context. So one of the things that I like about you, I follow you on Instagram, and you're always engaging with your audience. And so how impactful has that been for you in not only growth on the platform, looking at from a metric standpoint, but just for yourself, right? Because like hearing people that are out there and they're like, oh man, like I can relate to this track, or this is me today, or so how has that really changed you, rebirthed you, right, as a person?
Yeah. I love it, man. It's motivational, because sometimes people share their stories with me and why they like this song, because they might have went through a certain situation with a spouse or an ex-lover or something like that, or just their everyday life or their family. So be able to hear those stories, one, it motivates me to hear that I inspire people, which is dope. It's crazy. And then just to know that I recorded this in the crib, not nobody's big time studio. I did it at my house. And to see what I did manifest to something greater and people appreciate it for what it is, it's a beautiful feeling, man. And I've been praying on this for a long time. So just, because before this album, I have an album called Real. It's called Recognize Everything Ain't Limited. Did the same thing, recorded it here, outsourced it with the mix that time. But I can tell the difference between that album and this one, and where I was at there and how I came to where I'm at now. And I feel as though music is what you go through, and I'm not done going through anything right now in life. You know what I'm saying? I still got more to talk about. So being able to, see comments, like, especially the ones that are really like, people really like, yo, I like that line you said about Fresh Prince and Men in Black. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, yo, like, you really listen. Like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So. And then it's also showing me core focused people that really pay attention, and I can count on. So anything I drop, they're gonna listen.
That's good. Yeah, I think that's important too. Whenever because like everybody starts with 0 followers, right? Everybody starts with an audience of them and their friends and their family. And so when you start to get that realization that you're making a difference, right? You're inspiring people to be different, or maybe you're getting someone that freestyles on one of your beats, like when you start to get those things happening, it's got to be a good feeling.
Yes, man. It's I don't even have too many words for it. It's just a feeling that I can't even explain. I just hope anybody that does music or any type of creativity or anything with, what they love to do, they get this feeling because it's one of the best in the world.
That's awesome, man. And so for the audience, let everyone know where they can find you, right? There's going to be people that listen to this and that are into hip hop, they're into music, and they've really got a sense of kind of who you are. They start to learn a little bit about, why you're creating, why your last album was titled what it was, the thoughts behind some of the verses in your song. So where are the best places for people to reach you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is Ronnie Eriic, so RONNIE ERIIC. Same on Snapchat. On TikTok, you just gotta add a 5 after my name. I'm on, what else? Facebook. I just got my page up, so I'm on there. I'm on LinkedIn. Just type Ronnie Eriic in. I'm on there. I'm basically everywhere you need to find me, except for MySpace, other than that.
That's good. That's good. All right. Well, awesome. This has been great. I appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure you've been writing and recording and always working on some things. So appreciate you taking the time for sure.
Thank you, man. I got something about to drop for this whole COVID thing, man. I think it's going to uplift people's spirits. So I'm actually about to, when we're done, finish writing it, probably make a video, post it, and get people tuned in.
Awesome, my friend. Well, hey, definitely glad you were able to make it, and thanks for coming on the Blaze Your Own Trail podcast.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
Hey, what a great episode with Ronnie Eriic. Make sure you head over to Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your music. Check out his albums. His newest one, Rebirth, has some amazing songs on it. So be sure to check it out. You can also follow him on Instagram at Ronnie Eriic. And listen, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the show. Our goal, again, is to impact as many people as possible all around the world. And if you could rate us and review us on iTunes, that would also help us on that mission. So thank you so much for listening. Can't wait to share the next episode with you soon.